I've been pretty negative for about a week. Granada was really frustrating. I thought the manager got it completely wrong. Cadiz wasn't as bad, but it still ended in a dull 0-0 draw. And Benfica was quite the mess. From the starting lineup to the in-game decisions, nothing really made sense to me for Benfica. And now losing 2-0 to Atletico Madrid, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I didn't actually think Barcelona played that bad today. Both goals happened in the exact same fixable way that I hope young players can learn from. The only problem really continues to be that no one for Barcelona can put the ball in the gosh darn net. And I don't know when that's going to be fixed, but we'll definitely talk about it. But everything in between was actually somewhat promising. From the starting 11, which I actually did like, the in-game substitutions, which there aren't many options of, but the combinations I thought actually led to some pretty okay things. I even had a hard time coming up with 5 headlines for this match, but let's see what we can do. 1. Barca didn't actually play that poorly. Games are won and lost by goals. We all know that. And as Piqué said, Barcelona could have played for a few more hours and they still may not have gotten a goal. And even that 2 shots on target for Barca to the 3 shots on target for Atleti don't really tell the whole story, but it does explain the slight margins that this game rested on. I do get the disappointment in Barcelona not scoring. I don't mean to make excuses, but it is the one area on the field where the injuries, especially to Dembele and Aguero and even to Braithwaite, make the most sense why you'd see a drop-off. The same thing with Griezmann and Messi being the latest 2 players to leave in the transfer window. The drop-off in goal-scoring ability for Barcelona was going to be, and always going to be, inevitable, regardless of how good Memphis Depay could be, and he hasn't been hitting the net lately. And I will have more explanation to this, so for those who tune out now, I'm sorry, you will miss it, but it's hard to hear that Barcelona played well even though they lost 2-0 in a game when you'd hope that their fire and their intensity and the desire to get an important win on the road would be enough to at least get some kind of result. And it doesn't help that the image of Luis Suarez with that telephone celebration is going to be everywhere you look. 2. A hard lesson. Some of the reasons why I thought Barcelona played well came down to the young players. Another reason why I liked that starting 11 that included Nico and Gavi. Nico made 4 total, we'll call them mistakes, against Atletico Madrid, and 2 of those directly resulted in goals. But Mingueza also didn't cover himself with glory on either goal. Neither did Araujo, Busquets, Piqué, and Ter Stegen. Those 6 players were all culpable for both goals, which were so similar. A set piece for Barca led to Atleti half clearing, Barca attempting to press, but Mingueza and Araujo not pressing together and João Felix breaking through it. All it took was João Felix, Luis Suarez, and Thomas Lemar in transition, and Barca was 2 behind. Mingueza was rough today, but Nico was the one who was pulled at halftime for the mistakes of multiple players. Plus, the manager sold him up the river in the post-game presser, something that's always a bad look for a 19-year-old. But Nico is a good example of where Barca is this season. They are making fixable mistakes, attempting to play a new way after at least 5 years of playing in any way that got the best out of Lionel Messi. If, and it's a big if, Nico can look at the film and learn from today's mistakes and not make those mistakes come, say, March, Barcelona will be an entirely different team, not just because of Nico, but of all the growth will happen with these young players. 3. Franky the Young's position. On recent podcasts, we pontificated about where Franky the Young should be setting up for Barcelona. Franky's heat map is pretty tough to look at. It basically said that he was a right winger today, which is not where you want to see Franky the Young, because arguably that's his 4th best position, behind that of an interior or pivot, 1 or 2 depending on your opinion there, and then libero, and then possibly something on the wing. It seems on paper completely nonsensical to put your best midfielder completely, as I would say, out of position. But I do understand, or I think I understand, why that decision was made. Whether or not it's the right one, that's up for debate. With Ansu Fati still not ready for starters minutes, and Luke de Jong not deserving minutes, and Sergio Aguero and Ousmane Dembele, plus as I said, Braithwaite still waiting on the sideline with injuries, somebody in that team, other than Memphis Depay, needs to make vertical runs. And Franky de Jong is the man who's best equipped to do that. It's actually a testament to de Jong that he can be generally effective in his 4th best position. But as long as Busquets is the pivot and Nico isn't ready, plus Gavi and Pedri not being vertical threats, as tremendous as they are as ball players, de Jong will continue to need to be an offensive threat. And that's another situation that comes down to the squad that Koeman has at his disposal. De Jong has to play in a position that gets the best out of everybody else, even if it doesn't get the best out of him. 4. Maybe Coutinho's got something. I still prefer Gavi over Coutinho in a starting lineup, but fortunately for me, both were fit into this one. Gavi got his predictable red card, but he does control the match and is an asset to Barcelona whenever he's on the field. He also has a fight and intensity that I wouldn't trade for all the yellow cards in the world. It's good that Gavi is fighting. It's good that he's bringing that intensity, and I hope it rubs off on some of his elder teammates. And as far as some of the partnerships on the field, I think those are being enhanced as well. Between he and de Jong, and he and Memphis in particular, you could see that chemistry is starting to build over time. But in this match in particular, I actually thought Coutinho was more influential. Maybe for better or worse. Yeah, there was the blocked shot, the miss that just went wide, which is actually a really good chance, and some other misplayed balls that were bad, but I thought he played maybe his best match, which isn't saying much, for the club in almost 2 years. Maybe he had one at the start of last season, but I thought today, the way he started out on the wing, combined well with Dest, and then would cut in to basically play as a number 10, opened up things for himself and for his teammates in ways that he wasn't when the defense was easily able to predict that he was going to start on the left wing or pseudo in that left wing half space and then cut to the middle and let off a long shot, because that's what basically he's been doing since 2017 when he arrived. The long shot is only useful if the defense sees it as just one of the options. And as I said, his chemistry with Dest was good enough for there to be multiple options today. Dest kept cutting in and was patient, knowing that getting infield would mean he could link up with Coutinho and keep things moving. It's still not where we expect him to be, but I'm hoping Coutinho can build from this showing and maybe find the back of the net sooner than later. 5. Koeman's future is secured, whether we like it or not. This is, I think, my first headline that I've done that isn't directly related to a match, but because of the news that came out prior to this match, I think it absorbed the entire narrative. And that's the future of Ronald Koeman. For a number of reasons that we'll discuss likely on the next podcast, is that Ronald Koeman is almost certainly going to be the manager when the international break ends. The images of him screaming on the phone and gesturing at Jordi Cruyff don't change anybody's minds, but it seems like Juan Laporta's mind is made up. Yes, it could be down to finances, but it could also be that at this juncture, it doesn't make sense to replace Koeman with another manager who's just potentially being set up to fail, and is going to be the scapegoat just as Koeman has become, as deserving as some of his tactics make him for that scapegoat title. Yes, we'll all be eating crow if this team does improve when all those excuses he's making come to fruition, when the team starts to figure things out, the other forwards come back healthy, including Ansu Fati, and results start to turn around. I'm not sure it is, but if this is actually month 1 of a new sporting project where the team is going to have to learn and grow and get past having depended on Messi for so many years, and if these players actually do improve, as I mentioned in headline number 2, this is a October that I can live with as long as March and April look the way they're supposed to. The only thing that continues to be the big fear is, will it be too late in the results department? Speaking of that international break, maybe I do have some things cooking for this international break. Well, I definitely do. You know there's going to be podcasts, but I also plan on doing a few things for specifically here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. And remember, at 10,000 subscribers, I am trying or hoping to potentially have some kind of giveaway. And until that time, as always, Forza Barça.